Oh my god! Game number 1 of coLMVP versus QIM taking place here on Tal'Darim Altar in the top left-hand corner. We have QIM.SaSe. He is our blue Protoss player. His opponent, down in the bottom right-hand corner, is Complexity MVP.TAiLS. He is our orange Protoss. Now, as we mentioned before, SaSe coming fresh off that all-kill of Liquid in round 1. And we have a rematch from our IPL 4 tournament that took place, our qualifier in the UK, as both these guys met in the lower bracket finals. TAiLS actually ended up winning 2-1.
And if I recall correctly, TAiLS DT cheesed him twice.
You are
and ended up taking the victory, which is interesting. I wonder if that'll affect the way SaSe plays, because one of the games was also on this map, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so.
And he caught him with sort of a... Oh, he just went flat out 1-gate DT.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
SaSe went with a 4-gate. They got into some sort of a base trade situation, but of course, if you have DTs and your opponent doesn't have any detection, it's going to be a pretty dicey.
SaSe was killing things a lot quicker, but TAiLS, I believe, was able to sneak away with a probe, and his DT just was doing too much damage for SaSe to be able to come back. So, taking a look at things now, we had a 12-gate, I believe, come out of TAiLS. May have hit on 11, actually, but a little more conventional 13-gate coming out of SaSe. But the real question and differentiation in these builds is going to come whenever we start seeing when the gases come down and how many
gates, things of that nature. First gas up for TAiLS already, as is SaSe. SaSe actually got his a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But I wonder if SaSe is going to get an earlier robo, having played TAiLS recently and knowing that, you know, he's really capable of some DT cheese.
You know, we were talking yesterday as well, because Inori has been doing this beautiful 3-gate build. He sends out, he actually chrono boosts out an extra round of units from the gateways before warp gate hits, allows him to defend 4 gates. He gets out a better economy, and he's able to transition into Robo. And we saw yesterday during the Liquid match in game number 1 of him against Hero, obliterated Hero with it.
Yeah.
So I wonder when more people are going to actually adopt that, Josh.
I mean,
talking about that.
That makes perfect sense to me. It actually seems very intelligent, because a lot of players just chrono boost warp gate technology over and over and over. They don't make the multiple gates before. They try and time it so that their gates finish right as warp gate finishes, and then they start cycling units. But if you have 3 gateways up, you know, as warp gate technology is coming and you save those chrono boosts and you use them on stalkers out of the gateways, you're going to have plenty of units to defend a 4-gate. You're going to be able to deny the pylon. You're for sure going to be able to kill the first Zealot stalker or Zealot and 2 stalkers and make their way over to your base.
And that's exactly what happens. Because Inori had those earlier units, he was actually able to catch a stalker and a Zealot in the midfield with just 1 extra stalker. That's all the difference you need. You can kite that extra that Zealot all day, and he gained himself a like a 4 supply advantage right in the beginning of the game. So
there you go. And it denies the pylon as well. So then they have this 4-gate, but they can't warp units in offensively on your side, and it's like it becomes a defensive 4-gate for them, and you're already sitting on 3-gate, and you get your warp gate out and your economy's better.
Interesting difference in the builds now, though, is TAiLS saved up a ton of chrono boosts. Both players ended up going double gas and then 2-gate and producing a bunch of stalkers, but TAiLS actually expending a ton of chrono boost on warp gate, has still quite a bit saved up. Now actually going to stalkers. I don't know if he was going for that fast as possible 4-gate there. SaSe is actually 4-gating off of double gas. It's been all stalkers up to this point so far, though, and he has not actually scouted his opponent quite yet, so that forward pylon will take a little while to get put down.
Interesting. It looks like TAiLS already having 3 stalkers here is going to be pretty set to deal with this.
Yeah.
He set it out right now to scout a little bit. SaSe is going to have to get in there and do some damage pretty quick, or he could try and transition out of it, do some sort of a defensive 4-gate, maybe go into Robo.
And here's the Robo coming up for TAiLS.
Okay, so TAiLS going with a 2-gate Robo here, and he does have a couple sentries.
It is still going to be quite the task for him, though, to hold off all these units that are going to pop out for SaSe. Pylon finishes up, frees up supply, and we should see a warp in here in just a second. I promise you. There we go. Okay, more stalkers coming in now. But, yeah, if TAiLS is able to actually get up this Robo, he has quite a few units, as you mentioned before, but if he gets up the Robo and gets up 1 Immortal, it's looking pretty dicey for SaSe then.
SaSe still has the option for some serious pressure here early on in the game. He actually goes in pretty aggressive with his stalkers right there. Force fields do go down, and a sentry goes down.
Oh, wow.
For TAiLS, so SaSe coming up a little bit right there. Forces 2, force fields kills the sentry. And after one more cycle, I think SaSe is going to try and press his advantage here.
Yeah, I definitely agree, as he's walking up with a few Zealots now. Soccer's starting to warp in at the front as well. Zealots making their way up, and this Sentry is actually going to die pretty quickly. There it goes. So it's really just up to Probes and a handful of Stalkers off of fewer warp gates for TAiLS now to defend. Smart decision to cancel the gateway and just start chrono boosting and getting the resources for the Immortal as quick as possible.
Yeah, that was actually really smart right there by TAiLS. He needed those extra resources to get that Immortal out ASAP. Pylon goes down, supply blocking him at the front. He cannot warp in any more units. SaSe looking great thus far in this matchup.
And it looks like that Zealot goes down without doing much damage already. A bunch of economic damage being suffered there for TAiLS. Taking a look at workers killed, 11 for SaSe.
And the Immortal could get isolated. Oh, I'm so surprised he didn't go after that.
Yeah, he's starting to back up now. All right.
Might go after it again here. It looks like he's not even worried about the Immortal.
No, which is interesting because that Immortal will tear him a new one if he doesn't worry about it. There, it finally goes down, but that did buy TAiLS a little bit of time to start warping in some Zealots and push back the Stalker force.
Yeah, TAiLS actually got a really good engagement right there, but the supply is now starting to creep in SaSe's favor. He's just starting to run away with this a little bit. Finally gets some Zealots of his own in there, but does lose a couple Stalkers before those Zealots get in there, and he's warping in additional Stalkers right now. This is so close.
Yeah, it really is. But right now, I mean, this is just going to, as time goes on, start to favor SaSe a little bit more, I would imagine, unless the TAiLS is able to sneak something by. But he just gets another good engagement.
Kills two more Stalkers right there.
That was a huge unit advantage there for SaSe, and TAiLS just gets the perfect engagement.
And here we go. The supply is actually evening out just a little bit here. Sentry coming in for TAiLS. I don't know how I feel about that. The Sentries really haven't done much for him thus far, and he really needs the Stalkers right now because he only has 2 warp gate cycles every cycle.
Yeah, he was sitting pretty on a lot of gas, but I figured he would have just pulled a couple of probes off of gas and started mining some more minerals if it came to that. But let's see if he's able to get the engagement he wants on the back of those force fields. He does kill all of the Zealots.
And gets 2 Stalkers, actually.
Wow.
Not bad at all.
TAiLS playing from a big disadvantage, deflecting 4-gate with essentially a 2-gate at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, just using his Sentry so well right now, and he warped in 2 more right there, so he's going to have 2 additional force fields here. Let's see if he can catch some more units. That would be huge for him. There we go. There's 3 more units for sure. Great job from TAiLS thus far, and he may indeed just hold this 4-gate with a 2-gate here. That Stalker will go down as well.
God, more Sentries coming in now. He's almost completely out of gas, so it's going to be
again
Stalkers. He catches more units off guard. You called it, and those Sentries just are surviving so long for TAiLS.
Great job from TAiLS. This is unreal. I can't believe he's been able to hold this off. He's actually ahead in supply now.
And SaSe's actually going ahead and putting down a Robo, so he's not going to commit too many more units to the front here. What are we watching? This is ridiculous.
This is an awesome PvP, that's for sure. The micro from both players has just been excellent. TAiLS, I thought, was just down and out.
Yeah.
Completely out. I mean, after he lost 11 workers, what are we at now in the worker count, by the way?
Let's take a look. 24 to 25. He's actually pulled ahead just a little bit.
Wow. And that's after, you know, losing 11 early on in the game.
Yes.
And only working off of 2 gates this whole time. And, you know, the Robo has essentially done nothing for TAiLS.
Right.
That was just completely wasted resources. He did get out an Immortal, which immediately got picked off. So
I will say that it did give him, at least put the fear of God in SaSe and gave him a pretty good engagement in the first engagement, which kind of tipped the scales a little bit. But you're right. It hasn't produced any units after that. It hasn't assisted in any other.
Well, even the first Immortal just got sniped right away.
You're exactly right.
I don't even think it killed a single Stalker.
A little bit of force field on force field action here. The Zealots are making their way up through a relatively small choke point. Only one is able to attack at a time, and more force fields going down. And SaSe is losing so many units.
Yeah, he really is. He needs to pull out completely here. TAiLS definitely has this 4-gate held and then some.
Unbelievable play here out of TAiLS. This is some of the best control that I've seen in a PvP in a very long time.
And TAiLS is probably going to look to expand here or just go on the outright offensive.
Yeah.
This pylon kill will supply block SaSe for a little bit here.
Yeah, SaSe actually going up. Okay, he has the Twilight Council
he's
done.
In trouble.
He's not utilized it for any upgrades quite yet, but he is at a significant supply disadvantage.
Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble here. Do we have a probe making its way across the map? There is a probe in the top right, I think.
Here. Yeah.
Okay, so he is actually going to try and go off on the offensive here, and I think he has enough to potentially break SaSe right now. It's going to be very close, though.
12 Stalkers to 5. Just 1 Zealot out there for SaSe and a 2 Sentry advantage. And, of course, these Sentries have been starting to accumulate energy this whole time.
It's time for SaSe to pull a TAiLS, if possible.
And let's see if he gets the right engagement. No, TAiLS, very good patience right there to back up and force those force fields out, because that's basically all of the energy out of those sentries.
Yeah, there's only really one more available for SaSe, and he's just scrambling to get units out here, but TAiLS, his army is just much larger right now, and he has full control over the situation. Last force field goes down there for SaSe, and he isn't able to warp in any more sentries, so this is it right here. The final engagement could be coming up in just a second here. He does have an Immortal coming out. If he can get that Immortal out, he might be okay, but
he canceled Blink as well. He canceled Blink. It was about 2/3 of the way done, and he canceled it. I don't know if that was to free up resources for an Immortal, but he's so far behind on that Blink timing now, that may have outright killed him.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I don't know if that was an accident or if he actually needed the money right there. I didn't see him build any units after canceling it. He might have tried to warp in some additional units here, but wow, TAiLS just has way too much.
This is actually incredible from TAiLS. This is one of the most exciting one base versus one base PvPs I've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if he snipes out this pylon, there's no production for SaSe, I'm sorry, at all. Yeah. May not even need it.
Ooh, almost gets force fielded right there. So now they're even on workers killed. It's 11-11.
Oh,
but look at the numbers right now. 31-16, 18 is it?
Yeah, that's actually incredibly impressive. The Immortal is sitting out there, as you mentioned, but oh no! A Warpin actually prevents the Immortal from walking up to the front and allows a gate to be taken away. SaSe canceled Blink once again, so he is not going to have that available for him, but of course he's more relying upon his Immortal and sentries than anything at this point.
Oh my goodness, this gateway ball is getting out of control from TAiLS. It's just way too big, I feel, for SaSe to deal with at this point. SaSe has a small army here, and the Immortal. The Immortal is staying alive. It's not getting target fired down, but he has to run with that Immortal. Now it's getting target fired by a bunch of Stalkers. Immortal goes down
nice
halfway
force
through
field
the
from
fight.
TAiLS right there to trap that in.
Yeah. And that will be it, folks.
Wow, GG, and SaSe, the all-killer of Team Liquid, has gone down in game number 1 to Complexity MVP TAiLS.
是上将。